Good morning, everyone, and it looks like the people at Extra Credits have written a detailed response, an edited response they pinned to their Stop Normalizing Nazis video. And if you don't know anything about these people, they're effectively left-leaning. You could call them social justice warriors. I'm not sure exactly what to call them, but what they've done is called doubling down. They've taken what they believe in and what they've said, and they've just gone harder as hard as possible with it. And this is a technique that's also used by the SJWs, and from this book by Vox Day, SJWs always double down, and it's our job as non-SJWs or non-crazy people to do a sort of mental judo, sort of take their words and reverse it on themselves, because this is complete nonsense. There are so many flaws in this video. We've gone over that on my channel for about 3 hours with UDP and LiteratureDevil, and it's just a bad thing. It's just bad to see people who are ideologically geared up to whatever thinking they have and not understanding reality. So let's go through these point by point to see what they have to say. I have a copy of the excerpt just to see if I'm missing anything. So, hey folks, so this one seems to have struck a nerve. We encourage discussion about the topic, and there is some fair criticism of the video out there. Of course, they never actually addressed the criticism. However, I wanted to address some of the comments that seem to have misunderstood some aspects of the video. Right, because of course the average viewer, being, quite a dislike ratio there, clearly understood or misunderstood the video, as opposed to the guy who actually wrote the video and performed the video, didn't actually read the video or have any criticism before making the video, that this would be a crazy pile of crap. We never said that playing as a Nazi turns you into a Nazi. That's true, but it was heavily implied that this was a bad thing. For example, here it is treated as no different than playing a British soldier. This is bad on so many levels. And it's like, which levels? How is playing a no-name British or German soldier bad? Why is the German side bad on so many levels? No one should ever have a random chance of fighting for the Nazis, or fighting for the Germans, or fighting for the Axis. Why is that bad? Tell us why people who say playing as a Nazi doesn't make you a Nazi. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with playing as a murderous lunatic in a video game? You do that all the time in video games, especially in first-person multiplayer games. What's wrong with that? That's not how any of this works. However, there's plenty of research how... oh, no, it's not how it works, but you know what? There's plenty of research how art and media can shift people's perspectives. Well, no crap. Reading this will change my perspective. Reading any news report will change my perspective if the actual content is valuable and has evidence and has a good argument. You're not gonna do that. Me playing a multiplayer game is not going to change my stance on the law and manslaughter and murder. So what exactly are you saying, Extra Credits? This is not a good or bad thing. Then why are you saying it's a bad thing on so many levels? Why, Extra Credits? This is just a natural effect of culture. No, it's not. It's not how culture... What is the natural effect of culture? To be influenced by people with shoddy arguments that have no context, that aren't supposed to have context? Really? And of course, they want you to look at one of their other videos. Please do not watch any of this guy's videos. This guy is, or whomever these people are, out to lunch. Don't give them those extra views. Just don't do it. So no, playing a Nazi doesn't magically transform you into a Nazi. No one is saying that, even though it's really bad to play as a Nazi. So playing as a Nazi is bad, but don't worry, you won't be one. So what's the problem then? If playing as someone who represents an ideology won't affect you, and won't affect you via culture or whatever the natural effect of culture is, what's the problem, buddy? I mean, this is it's a very confusing series of comments you're making compared to what you've already made. So who do you think is more confused? You who are writing this crap, or people who have to understand your crap? Where do you think the confusion starts? Point 2. We never said that games should never let you play as Nazis, or terrorists for that matter. if you read the exact timestamp, it's at 4:47. This is the point in the video where they just completely revert what they were saying throughout the entire video. So they're saying it's all bad. All these things are bad. All the lack of context is bad. In an FPS, for some reason it's bad, even though it's not relevant to the idea of playing a multiplayer game. It's bad, but it's like, hey, you know what? You could do all these things, even though they're bad. It's like, oh, okay, sure. There's a lot of potential for some really interesting and impactful games that put the players in the boots of people or in control of systems that have done incredible harm. Such as, give us an example. What are you talking about? But it can't be done thoughtlessly. Why not? What's wrong with thoughtlessly playing a multiplayer game where you happen to play as one of the Germans? Tell me, what's wrong with it? Go ahead. Because you've just told us at 4:47 there's nothing wrong with it, which subverts exactly what you've said before. But again, we don't know what you're talking about anymore because you just wasted 4 minutes and 47 seconds of our time. But it can't be done thoughtlessly or just as skin on top of mechanics devoid of context. Again, why not? Why not put a American uniform on a guy in a World War II simulator? What's wrong with that? Does it have to have any more meaning behind a symbol? I don't think so. Why not? If the whole point of the game is just to shoot the bad guy, what's wrong with that? Cowboys and Indians. We don't need to know what the Cowboys did to the Indians or vice versa. They're just opponents. There's nothing wrong with that. Point 3. For those saying that it's just a game and we shouldn't think too hard about it, I think perhaps it might be important to introduce ourselves. Okay, yeah, well, the thing is, it's not wrong to think too hard about it. It's to think well about it. Your thoughts on the matter are confusing, if not wrong. They're contradictory to the point of you disregarding your own words. You're not thinking too hard about it. You're thinking too much, too randomly, too stupidly. And this is why this is a bad video. This is why it's getting so many downvotes. Because you're contradicting yourself. You're not structuring your thoughts properly. There's nothing wrong with thinking too hard. You're just very bad at it. And the fact that this is apparently now, I don't know how, it became a channel with 2.1 million subs where thinking about games is kind of our shtick. Are all your videos this bad? I don't think so. So something must have happened for this thing to pass through everyone's eyeballs and say this is how it goes. And then it was point 4, which is even worse. Our writing staff is the same, so all these guys are like, yep, we all agreed on this. And we've always talked about politics and games in our other videos. Okay. Not my kind of channel, but I mean, maybe it is for some people. SJWs, obviously. If this comes as a surprise to you, and you think there's been a huge shift in our thinking, I'd invite you to take a look at some of our older episodes. Again, don't watch these episodes. Don't watch any of this crap. We live in a time where neo-Nazis exist. Really? Which ones? Where are they? Because they haven't really influenced anyone in the past, I don't know, 70 years. And if they've been seen doing anything bad, they get sent to jail quickly because that's how these things should work. If they're publicly hurting someone, they're free to say whatever they like the same way these guys are, but I don't know any neo-Nazis. I don't think anyone does. They've seemed to have increasingly found a home in gaming communities. I think everyone has found a home in gaming communities. And it's this whole nonsense about Gamergate. You know, if you use the hashtag, you're oppressing someone. It's just complete nonsense. Who hasn't had fun playing a game who has different ideologies than you? And again, where are they? Who are they? I mean, let's fight them together. I'm against neo-Nazis. I think most people are, if not every person I've ever met. So yeah, point out these neo-Nazis. How is this a problem? I mean, just think about what they said in the video. For some reason, some person who bought a World War II game or whatever, whether they played Day of Defeat or Red Orchestra or Wolfenstein enemy territory. They knew full well what they were getting into. They knew they were going to have the Allies versus the Axis. They knew they were going to have Germans. Suddenly, they have been added to a queue of this multiplayer game they bought or downloaded, and now they're playing as the Axis, and suddenly in their brain they never clued in that there might be Nazis, and they suddenly don't like being in them because they identify as this ideology, and they're somehow offended. No one in the world is like this. There is no person who has done this exact same steps in succession. These people have created a boogeyman in, I don't know, World War II of a problem that doesn't exist for someone that doesn't exist. That's what these idiots have done or are arguing for. It makes no sense. This isn't something we can turn a blind eye anymore. What are you talking about? What problem is there, you idiots? And it's something to consider that we, as game designers, you're not a game designer, and if you are, what are you doing making dumb videos, can do to try and make things better. You're not making anything better because there's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong. There's no problem to fix. This is just some person named A, or the channel apparently, who have an ideology, and they're trying to jam it into popular media like gaming, and saying, "Oh, this is bad," without telling us why it's bad or how it's bad, and agreeing that it's not like it can't make you bad. This ideology of whatever you're playing won't make you bad. It just won't. So what's the problem? There's no influence. No one is causing you to do anything wrong. Everyone's having fun until this moron comes by and says, "Oh, you're playing as Nazi, that's bad." And you're like, why is it bad? And not giving us any rational argument, giving us no evidence, citing no scientific papers or proof that this is influencing us in a negative way. It's complete garbage. And they're trying so hard to come across as, "Oh, well, no, it's not bad. It's not really bad. It's just bad in a certain context." It's like, well, dude, what are you talking about? As said, there have been some very valid criticisms, none of which this post has commented on. We greatly appreciate. Most important was is start talking about these topics. We're only talking about how dumb you are, as every comment almost in this entire channel or this video has shown. I definitely yell "terrorist rule" when playing Counter-Strike. Almost 7,000 upvotes, which is almost as many upvotes as the actual video. The progressive demand for racism and Nazism to exist far exceeds the actual supply available. Again, true. Stop normalizing stupidity and outrage culture. Yeah, exactly. These people are trying to create a buzz around nothing. It's pathetic, it's sad, it's stupid, it's ignorant, it's biased. And I think there's a bit of lying in there. There has to be some lying as if they're unaware of what they were doing. So these people are certainly all of those four things: ignorant, stupid, biased, and lying. So anytime you come across people like these, use their own arguments against them. It's not hard. The proof is just so obvious. And just forget these people exist. Unless they come at you, then it shouldn't be hard to take them apart. Stop watching extra credits, don't pay attention to them, and laugh at them all the way. Have yourself a great morning, guys. Take it easy.